Hey y'all, so I was guided to do this little quiet chit chat reading. I don't know why, I never know why I do anything here, but here we the fuck are. So this is going to be more of a relaxing session, not going to be anything for you to look at on the screen, and we are going to be moving through the 12 zodiacal houses, and we are going to be discussing your Pluto sign. So whichever house your Pluto is in, the reading is going to pertain to that, because Pluto, as we know, is a generational planet, and his houses are more highly regarded than the actual sign that he's in. So just look at your Pluto sign, look at the house that he falls in your chart, and then we are going to do some predictions here. Now, the divination session is going to be in regards to Pluto retrograde. So Pluto retrograde actually started on April 29th, beginning at 28 degrees of Pluto in Capricorn, and it is running through October 8th till 26 degrees Capricorn. The retrograde motion, as we know, is a faux movement, but to the observer, if we want to believe that space is real, to the observer, it appears from Earth to be moving backwards or stationary. Okay, so either which way, this is about astrology. This is not about flat Earth and matrix and things like that, but it always kind of is, isn't it? So, being that this is a general reading and these are the dates for Pluto retrograde 2022, whenever you look at this reading, these predictions are going to be valid for that same amount of time. So and listen, I ain't doing no motherfucking math, okay? So, because ain't nobody on my channel to learn math, you know what I'm saying? We here for the channeling. So, just do the math. April 29th to October 3rd is how many months, how many days, right? So let's say you are viewing this in the middle of July, then this reading is gonna, come to pass by that same amount of math that you just calculated, which would start from July in that same amount of time rather than starting from April 29th, even though I'm filming this after April 29th, but time doesn't really exist. But just to give you a little ballpark, okay? So in terms of the reading, this is just going to be freestyle channeled, so let's get started. Okay, so what we have here, let's go with our first group number 1. Okay, group number 1, if you have Pluto in the first house, what's going to occur, oh my goodness gracious, if you Pluto in the first house, wow, you're going to be getting married, getting a marriage proposal, or you're going to be having a child. That's really straightforward, but this is what's coming through. So with Pluto in the first house, you're someone who you maybe come off as a little bit intimidating, and you're someone who just is recognized as someone who is not to be fucked with, right? So what I'm seeing here is that if you are in the process of trying to manifest what I just said with the marriage, having a child, proposal, whatever it is, if you Pluto in the first house, if you do feel like there might be a block in this area, then it is suggested, it is recommended to go into your own inner child and allow yourself to see what vulnerabilities you might have been identifying with. Because remember, Pluto in the first house is house of self-awareness, self-identity. So if you have been trying to manifest this, I would suggest, so as someone actually is not afraid to propose to you or afraid to, whatever your situation is, I would suggest going in and embracing more of your vulnerabilities, especially if you are in a situation where you have like a partnership or you are trying to manifest this. So whichever resonates with you, or maybe you want to propose to someone and you have these things going on, right? Your inner child type of vulnerabilities. What I'm seeing here is for you to go in and actually allow your vulnerabilities to be shared or shown at a level that is comfortable to you with your partner, because I'm seeing that this is coming in strong, this message that I said. There's really nothing else coming through. But if you do have Pluto in the first house and you have been identifying with, you have maybe a little bit of a wall up, but you are trying to manifest a marriage, a child, a proposal, taking a relationship to the next step, then definitely go in to yes, definitely go in to the unknown. And you might have tried, because Pluto is a very dominating planet which does not like to show weakness, and especially in the first house, you might have closed the door, not swept things under the rug, but you just kind of like threw shit in the cellar and locked away the key. You threw the key in with the Loch Ness monster. Like, that's what you did, okay? You threw that motherfucker away, that key. You locked some shit up in there. You would rather have been numb than to address these certain vulnerabilities. But I'm seeing, if you do want this relationship, which I see definitely is coming in strong, this further commitment of relationship in whatever area of life you are at, then the key is to go in, either address your own vulnerabilities that you have self-identified with, that you have thrown away the key, you locked it up, you threw away the key, and just identify it within yourself, either before you approach this wanting to commit to a further level in your relationship, or sharing yourself further emotionally with your partner. In order for this to happen, that's what I'm seeing is beneficial for you to do at this time. So that is what I have for you guys, Pluto in the first house. Okay, so let's move on into Pluto in the second house here. Don't mind me, every day I'm shuffling. Okay, so Pluto in the second house. Ooh, okay. So Pluto in the second house here, you guys, and this does kind of make sense. Thank you, Universe, for Pluto in the second house. You guys are going to be receiving a message of some sort of authority being brandished upon you, some sort of promotion, something along those lines. So I'm sensing this might have even more to do with like a business sector. There's going to be some sort of promotion, I think suddenly, a sudden promotion, or if it's not in relation to a business, it's going to be something in terms of you suddenly having more responsibility and more what's the word? Oh my god, what is the word? It was like my channel's so fast, it's like in and out. That's why I forget what I say a lot of the times. But there is going to be some sort of responsibility handed to you, and I'm not seeing in like a negative way, but you are going to be given more responsibility. You are going to be given something, a project, a person, a pet, something, a plant even, to look after. Okay, that's what I'm seeing, and it's gonna come in suddenly, but it's gonna seem like an authority figure is going to pass the torch to you. I'm literally seeing like an Olympic fucking torch. You know how they pass the torch? I'm really seeing that. So one authority figure is going to anoint you or ordain you in something that is going to enable you to have more responsibility, and it's going to bring you physical realm sustenance. And I'm sensing that in this area, because Pluto in the second house is in terms of like material realm sustenance and things like that, right? So this is something that you are definitely more than enough well prepared for, but I'm sensing that in the way that's going to be thrust on you so suddenly, you're going to be like, whoa, what? It's going to seem, and I do want to say this, since an authority figure views you as well as an authority figure, it might seem that they give you this message or give you this extra or added responsibility in a way where it seems like they're bossing you around, but they're really not. So I would say maybe be mindful of that, because the way that this is going to be handed to you, it's not going to be told to you with finesse. It's going to be very, very blunt. Like, let's say this is just one example, but something for you, responsibility, right? Let's say you always wanted a bulldog. You wanted a bulldog. Okay, right? So now you have your grandpappy, let's say, has a bulldog, and your grandpappy, him and grandmama, they move into the 55 plus community, and no pets are allowed, right? So you always wanted a bulldog, and let's say in this example, you know, whatever, I'm just using this as an example, doesn't have to be, but let's say you always looked up to your grandpappy, right? You always looked up to him, and you found him to be a responsible authority figure. All of a sudden, right, you always wanted a bulldog, right, even though it means responsibility. So this is going to be something given to you that you wanted, but your grandpappy, he's going to come to you, he's just going to drop off the dog one day, like, listen, he's yours, me and grandmama, we move into, you know, the 55 community, whatever it is, right? And you're like, wait, what? So it's not going to be in a way where you're going to be asked, it's kind of just going to be given to you, but it's something that you want. And that's what I'm really sensing here with this group. And it might be something that you have not ever experienced before. So let's say, you know, in the bulldog situation, you never owned a pet before, but you always wanted it. Now is the opportunity, okay? So it's going to be something like that, but in pertinence to something that you actually want. Okay, so that's what I have for you guys with Pluto in the second house. All right, Pluto in the third house. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, Pluto in the third house. This is really interesting. So there's going to be something. Okay, so third house, Pluto, third house, house of communication and peers and siblings and things like that. I don't know why, but I'm sensing that there is going to be some sort of something is going to occur that you were not expecting, and it's going to be someone in your immediate environment. It might not be like a blood relative or something, but it might be a coworker, a casual acquaintance, a neighbor, something is going to happen along the lines, and because of this, because you know this person, and however this individual is affiliated with you, it's going to leave you with a sum of money on your hands that's just for you. So that can be in any which way, but I'm sensing also, because we do have Pluto in the third, that this is going to be, it's going to be where it's going to be a situation that might involve a lot of gossip. There's going to be some gossip. There's going to be, I don't know, I'm thinking of, like, I'm picturing like a Real Housewives like episode where there's like, you know, like a group of peers are sitting around a table, and it's like all of a sudden, you know, someone says to you, oh, you know, you, I see you've been eyeing my I don't know, my handbag, whatever the fuck, right? I'm just using whatever, pick what pertains to you, but I'm picturing like a group of individuals that all know each other. This could be metaphorically, but someone's sitting around, and then they're saying to you, oh, you've been eyeing my handbag? You know what? Here, you take it then. Like, it's something like that, but it's not going to be something that's going to leave you in disarray. It's going to be something unexpected, which I'm sensing the situation surrounding the way that this thing is gifted to you, that it might not seem like a gift, and it's not. It's going to be from like a peer or a neighbor, or so it could even be from like a sibling. You know, third house also deals with a sibling, but I'm sensing with this Pluto here that there's going to be a lot of gossip around it, but it's sort of like, okay, you don't give a fuck because you come out the winner on the end, and I mean that in, it could be like a financial state, it can mean like a someone leaves you their house or their car or their yacht or their submarine, who knows, right? And it's going to allow you to have a new beginning, but the way that this thing is going to come into your experience, there's going to be some sort of like gossip around it. Yeah, definitely gossip. So the thing is, now depending on this situation, because I feel like the gossip thing is going to be big, and you're not, it's not like a situation, like I said, you're going to be happier than a pig in shit, right? But you might dissolve paths with the individual that
like I said in that, dinner table example, oh, you want my bag, here you go, and they just toss their handbag at you, here, you have it now, right? There's gonna be gossip around that, and I'm sensing that you might dissipate from this person's experience. Now, whether you come back into talking to them again or not, every individual situation is an individual situation, right? But I'm sensing that there is going to be a separation from the individual because of the gossip that surrounds this situation. So it could be even something I'm sensing, like, I don't know, even with siblings, right? Like family heirlooms. Oh, so and so promised this watch to person A, and then the sibling person B is like, what do you mean they promised it to me? Like, so whoever ends up getting the watch is going to feel good about it, but it's going to be some sort of gossipy type of thing that goes on with it. But this thing that's gifted, whether it's a home or I'm definitely sensing something physical, it's going to allow you to have a brand new start. And I'm not sensing that you're going to be really, I don't know, torn up about it, or like over the gossip. You're just kind of be like, what? But it's also important, because there is gossip. I'm sensing that either for you to listen to this individual's side of the story whenever it pertains to you, if you speak to them again in the future, or you listen to what they're saying with the gossip, or you listen to someone else who's sort of like a mediator betwixt you and this individual. Really listen to what they have to say, because I'm sensing that not the whole truth is going to be coming out of this situation. It's going to be sort of like an explosion. Something is to be given to you. It's going to allow you the potentiality for like a brand new life, okay, like a totally new life experience. But if you do care about this individual, or it could be a few individuals, right? It could be, let's say, a group of siblings or a group of coworkers. Let's say you were the coworker that received a promotion and the other coworkers are salty about it. You kind of care, but you kind of don't, because you got the promotion. Now you're getting more money, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you actually enjoyed hanging out with your coworkers, right? So it's like that. I'm kind of sensing something like that. Like, it's not going to be overly negative, but there might be some sort of dissolution for a little bit, and that's why it's very important for you to listen to whoever it is side of the situation, okay? If you don't give a shit about talking to them again, then that's totally up to you. But I'm saying, if you care about this individual or individuals, and you want to, when things smooth over, it's very important to listen to what they have to say, or listen to what a mediator, among all of you has to say, okay? But really listen to understand, not just to respond. So that's what I have for Pluto in house number 3. Let's move to Pluto in house number 4. Okay, guys, so Pluto in house number 4. Ooh. Okay. Oh, my. Okay, so Pluto in house number 4. Now, this is really interesting, because I'm sensing, Pluto in house number 4, this can be a very sentimental house, because, it is governed by Cancer and the moon. Now, what I'm seeing here is some sort of like emotionally fulfilling quest that you've been on is actually going to come into fruition, and I'm sensing this more along the lines of your personal emotional fulfillment. And we do know that the 4th house represents home and inner realm, right? Like how one's emotions typically feel safe and secure and guarded and protected, and warm and snuggly and things like that. What I'm sensing here is that you're going to have an emotional, fulfilling experience, but it's going to be coming to the realization about you carry yourself wherever you go. So when you are, and I'm sensing this group is more about like how they're feeling on the inside, not necessarily having to do with someone else. It's more about them finding harmony within their emotions themselves. So I'm sensing that some of you might be on like a spiritual quest, or you might have been doing some like deep diving into shadow work, or even if there's a situation where you have felt like a little bit emotionally unstable or uncertain, that is definitely going to smooth over. And I'm sensing with this is that you are going to come to realize that you were the magic all along, and you are the answer and you are the question too. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I sound like a fucking fortune cookie, but you know, that's what I got for you, you know. So that's what I'm sensing with this. Like, it's gonna something, like, I'll tell you right now, no matter what sector of your life experience might be causing you a little bit of dysfunction right now, it's definitely going to smooth over. And I feel like because you've done so much inner emotional work, that like it's already in it's coming into fruition. Like, it's already being built, and it's just left for you to see in the third dimensional realm. So what I'm also seeing with this group is that your living situation, no matter what it is, Pluto in the 4th house here, maybe you've had like a chaotic living situation, or just unstable, or there's some uncertainty with that. That too is going to smooth over. So let's say you wanted to buy a house and you didn't know, like, if the deal was going to go through, or whatever the case, right? You're kind of wondering about that. Like, you're good on the emotions on the inside, but you're wondering about like where you're actually going to plant your feet down. I'm sensing that is going to, if it is like a physical move that you're trying to manifest, it's going to manifest as if by magic, and that's because you've already been doing this emotional work, okay? So you've already put in the time and effort in order to manifest this. So this is also, you know, the 4th house with Pluto there, we have this 4 is opposition of 10th house. So I'm sensing that time is on your side with this. Even if you felt like it was taking a longer amount of time than you would have liked, when this happens magically, you are going to see that the quote-unquote time that it took to manifest this stability, whether in your internal emotions or your external home environment, you're going to see how it all fits together perfectly, and that the time was not wasted because there were so many other things that you built during that duration while you were quote-unquote waiting for the water to settle. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna see how everything worked out in quote-unquote perfect timing. So that's what I have for you guys, group number 4. Let's move to group number 5. Okay, group number 5. Okay. Some of you might like robots. I have no idea why that came into my mind, but okay. So group number 5. Something that you have been trying to manifest is coming into fruition. It's going to arrive very suddenly, and because you guys have Pluto in the 5th house, I'm sensing that you're already used to you don't mind a little bit of drama, okay? You don't mind a little bit of notoriety around your name, but I'm sensing that there's something there's going to be something that's occurring with this, you know, the Pluto retrograde for you guys with Pluto in the 5th house. Something you've been manifesting is going to be presented to you, and it's going to be presented to you in a way where you're going to get to decide if you are going to move into love or go back into your ego. So what I mean by that is that I'm sensing that something is going to like it. Okay, this is something that you already know is in the works, right? You kind of sense that it's coming, but the way that it arrives is going to be a test. It's going to be the ultimate test. Have you moved forward into what you want to happen with this from a love-charged space, or are you going to let your ego limit you? Because I feel like your ego is going to be tested in the arrival of this thing. And the arrival of this thing, as I said, it's going to be something, and it might not even be like a physical thing or having to do with a person. It just might be something where your own willpower is tested or something like that, okay? I'm really, really picking that up. It might be something to do with you even challenging yourself. Like 2 things that just came to my mind were someone climbing Mount Everest and someone running a marathon, okay? So there's really no competition with that, right? Well, I mean, I guess you could say if you're having a race, there's competition, but it's more about like, do you have the endurance to go through with this all the way? Or are you gonna back down? That's what I'm sensing. So it might just be a battle of you against you. So let's say, for example, you are training for like a marathon or decathlon. I don't know what they're called, okay? But let's say you are training for something like that, and then, you know, on the day of, I don't know, something, you oversleep, right? Your alarm doesn't go off, or you sleep through your alarm, right? But you've trained so hard, and you have to figure out a way to get there in like half the amount of time when you already planned to get there in like 30 minutes. Now it might, you know what I'm saying? You need to like you need to run to get to go to the marathon to run. You know what I'm saying? Just an example. That was really weird, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there might be a sudden, like, you were preparing for it, you know you're going to do it, you know you're going to do it. Whoop, something is going to come that might be a test to see if you really want to do this. Do you really want to run the marathon? You trained for 6 months to run that marathon. So what if your alarm clock didn't go off that day, okay? So what if you get there 5 minutes before the race starts? So what, you already trained so hard for that. So I'm sensing it's going to be a situation like that where you've been preparing for this, you know it's coming, whatever this is. And it's more about, are you going to move forward into the new you, even if there's like a, you know, minor nonsensical thing that occurs in your path? Or are you gonna let your ego block you, and are you gonna think that maybe you weren't supposed to run a marathon even though you trained all that time, right? I feel like it's gonna be some sort of mild nonsensical thing that pops up. It's gonna be unexpected, but it's gonna be mild, at least in the way, like, it's gonna be really unexpected, and it's gonna be something that is gonna be kind of put in your path. I'm really seeing it, you know, Pluto, he a dramatic motherfucker, and you know, you guys with Pluto in the 5th house, I'm sensing that you guys don't mind the challenge. So that's what I'm sensing, that this is going to be your ultimate thing. Like, you've been working on this, and then something unexpected is going to happen, be planted in your path, and now are you going to let that get back, put you back in your ego mind? Or are you going to transcend from this? That's what I'm sensing for you guys here, okay? So whatever situation pertains to you, but I'm sensing that it's more about you against you rather than you against anyone else. It's something about your endurance that's going to come up for question. That's what I have for you guys. Pluto in house 5. Let's move to Pluto in house 6. Okay, so let's see. Pluto in house 6. Pluto in house 6. Okay, Pluto in house 6. Okay, so you guys, I'm definitely sensing a focus on your spiritual abilities, okay? And I'm sensing that, okay, for this group, it might be something along the lines of you've been wanting to manifest your dream career, or you have a something that you know you're really good at psychically, but it just has not panned out yet in terms of like a monetary sustenance form. Okay, so let's say you have like a business, right? And let's say you make, I don't know, you make gemstone rings, let's just say, right? That would be more of like your spiritual side coming in, right? You know, healing crystals and things like that. I feel like you know that you're very good at it, but I'm sensing that you also have been looking to turn like a side gig or something that you know you're good at spiritually into something that can potentially become a career or like a life path, okay? So I'm sensing with this group here with Pluto in the 6th house, now this is about you know, like your kind of general well-being and your health and how it relates to your material realm, right? So I'm sensing that you already have it down pat, like you already know that you know how to make really good crystal rings or whatever the case, and you know that about yourself. Like there's no doubt about the spiritual aspect of it, but you're like, you're thinking, how can you use that to perhaps help others on the spiritual path by having them have access to the crystal rings that you make, right? You are about to receive a breakthrough in that area, which is going to allow you to turn something that you've been doing maybe as a side hustle, or something that you're just, you're good at, right? Like maybe you're really good at giving advice, but everyone tells you that, but you haven't really done anything. Like you don't really get paid for giving advice. You're just kind of there, you haven't made like a life coaching business out of it or anything, and people keep telling you that, but you're like, like you're kind of unsure, because you're like, well, how would that, like, like what would be the transition from your day job to doing that full time? Like, let's say, just an example, right? But there's something that you're good at, probably others have told you you're good at too, but you just you don't know if you want to go fully or mainstream into it, because you just, the sixth house is an earth house, right? So it's sort of like there's that grounded side, but like how would this enable you to, like, quote unquote, earn a living, right? There's that logical sense of it, but you are about to have a breakthrough in this area, and it's going to be something that everyone's situation is different, but this is something that you already know you're good at psychically. You've kind of been, you know that you have this gift, but you haven't gone mainstream with it thus so far, and something is going to occur which is going to allow you to have a better grasp on your physical realm reality, whilst at the same time enabling you to help others with the gift that you have. So everyone's situation is different. Everyone has different energies and things that they resonate with. So it's just something that you already know you're good at this. Like from a spiritual level, like you're all set, but you've just maybe been wondering how you could finagle incorporating that into like the life you're already living or something. But what's going to come through is this breakthrough in this area, and it is going to allow you stability, security, and a good sense of financial benefits during this transit, or whenever you're watching this, okay, in the time frame that I listed in the beginning. So that is what I have for you guys. Group number 6 with Pluto in the 6th house. Let's go to Pluto in the 7th house. Okay. Pluto in the 7th house. Oof. All right. Oh, Pluto in the 7th. Okay, guys. So Pluto in the 7th. Some of you have been going in cycles. Some of you might have been going in karmic cycles. I'm sensing that some of you might have like a karmic type of relationship situation going on that you want to be liberated from. There's definitely going to be a lot of movement during this transit, or whenever the time frame is that you're watching this reading. But I will tell you this, you are going to be moving into a new cycle. You might be moving into it very swiftly. And I see two type of energies for this group, because we do have Pluto in the 7th, the house of like marriage and things like that. So some of you might be in a cyclical pattern with like a relationship, and you'll know right now if that is you or not. So speaking only to the ones who have been in a cyclical pattern in a relationship, like a quote-unquote karmic cycle or something, you are going to be moving out of this cycle, okay? You're going to be moving out of this cycle. You're going to be moving on, whether it's by yourself, or whether it's with a new person, or whether it's even you just taking a break from this karmic individual to focus on yourself and then get busy doing you. I'm sensing that this cycle of bullshit, remember, this is very specific, the cycle of bullshit that you've been dealing with, this is I wouldn't say it's coming to a close, but you are going to be stepping away from it in a while, and for a while, and you are going to have a chance to do your own thing in terms of exploring yourself and rediscovering yourself, reinventing yourself. It could be maybe you move on to a new relationship with someone else, or you just decide to not talk to this person again, just free yourself up from that energy, and then you just decide to travel, or, you know, just focus on doing you. I'm sensing that, like, this portion of nonsense is going to come to, like, a standstill, or but it's not going to feel like a standstill where you're waiting for something. It's going to be a standstill where you're like, okay, you know what, like, you're going to say to yourself, like, you had enough of that, and then you're just going to decide to emotionally plow onwards and focus on you, or focus on another person, or focus on your career or something. There's going to be something that you're just going to step away from, and that is only for those of you that resonate if there's like a karmic relationship cycle. Okay, karmic relationship, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a lover. It can be a friend, a relative, however, but you are going to be taking a break from that, all that heavy energy. Okay. And for those of you that it is not that situation with a person, this is going to be a time where you are actually, you might be literally moving. Some of you might be moving across the country, across the world. Some of you might be moving to be with a partner, or a partner might be moving to be with you, if that is. Or some of you are actually just gonna, like, be taking a break to really explore yourself. So there's many different ways we can take a trip, folks, you know what I'm saying? But you are going to be traveling. So and I feel like these travels are going to allow you to have the potential for more self-discovery, and you are going to be leaving emotional baggage behind in these travels that you're going to be experiencing. And some of you, this is very specific too, so if it's not your message, it's not your fucking message. But some of you might be going to Costa Rica, but I forget what that place is called, but I think you know what I'm talking about, that retreat center. I'm sure there's a lot of them now, but there was one that was like, it was really big, like a few years ago. Like, it was all over the place on social media and shit. It's like a travel center, and you go, and it's like plant medicine and shamanic drumming, and I'm sensing some of you might literally do that. Or if you have been thinking about doing that, I would say just go, just do it. This is your sign. If you were waiting for a sign to do that, this is it. But there's definitely going to be some self-discovery here, and this is going to enable you to help have a better relationship with yourself. Therefore, all of your other relationships, whether romantic or platonic or whatever the fuck, are going to improve as well. So you're going to be you know, for every situation that I mentioned here, all of you with Pluto in the 7th house are going to be leaving behind emotional baggage, and you're going to be doing so swiftly and in a fun, ecstatic manner. And that's what I got for you guys with Pluto in the 7th house. Let's move to Pluto in the 8th house. Okay, so Pluto in the 8th house. Let's see. Pluto in the 8th. Have a little faith. Okay. 8th house Pluto. Okay. And Pluto, you know, Pluto does govern Scorpio with the 8th house. So you guys have Pluto in his home house. Maybe in his home sign too. Pluto in Scorpio. Okay. I'm gonna call it as I see it, so yeah, just keep that in mind. If you have Pluto in the 8th house, you probably aren't easily triggered, but I'm just gonna say it. Some of you might be inheriting money from someone who passed on. Now, this individual, and that is so suiting for Pluto in the 8th as well, because we know the 8th house is, you know, death and sex and rebirth and all of that type of, you know, all that jazz, right? But some of you literally, the first thing I saw was some of you might be receiving an inheritance or some sort of thing from someone who crossed over. Now, this might not be even someone close to you. This might not even be someone who crossed over yesterday or something, right? This could have been from like years ago, and then now you're just coming into this money from this individual. I'm really sensing that. That was very specific. That's not the only message I have here, but this is the first thing that jumped out at me. So I do just want to say that, that can be maybe triggering for some if they don't want to think about that type of thing, but I'm not sensing that it's going to be in a way where you would be overly upset about it. I feel like it's something that you already kind of knew was going on, if that makes sense. Okay, that was very specific. Okay, I am going to get into the rest of it, but that was even just for one individual. Okay, but I am going to be getting into the rest of the messages now. Either which way, for everyone who's listening to this group, I'm sensing that after a period of stagnation, perhaps in your career or maybe with your partner or spouse, I'm sensing that some of you might have like a business partnership with your spouse. If you have Pluto in the 8th, I don't know why that's coming through, but there's something that that remained stagnant for quite some time, and it has to do with like finances. Okay, so this could be in any which way. Pick a scenario in finance which would apply to you, but I'm really sensing that there had seemed like there was no movement in that area for quite some time, or maybe you were reliant on like your not your coworker, but like, your business partner, which I guess could too be your coworker, but I feel like you might have been relying on someone else to handle that, and you didn't really think that they were putting in the effort that they should have, but you are going to see the fruits bared to you of that which they had put in, which you didn't think they were putting in. So let's say you have a partner and you guys share like a, what is that called, 401k? I don't even know. Okay, you share one of those joint accounts. It's like a savings account, whatever, fund, new house fund, whatever, right? And it's both of yours, and you allowed your partner to kind of manage it, and you're like, well, where's the product coming? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the fruition of what's going on in this savings fund? And they're like, don't worry, it's coming. And you're like, like it wasn't like negative, but you just kind of weren't seeing movement. But now you're gonna see the fruition of that maybe you weren't seeing before. Okay. So I'm also sensing that a few of you might have had this perceived thing. This group is getting a few messages, but I'm sensing some of you might have had some, especially with Pluto in the 8th, some of you might have had like a childhood wound, an inner child wound, where there was like a lack of finance. And that is something that maybe you want to address, okay, for some of you, especially if like the no movement in the money area is resonating for you, because I'm sensing that the reason why, remember, I just used that analogy, your partner has like, a fund and your name is on it too, and they're handling it, and you're like, well, where the fuck are the fruits of the labor? And they're like, it's growing, right? And then I feel that maybe you were only suspicious of that because you had some sort of childhood wound about a lack mentality in regards to money or finance or something like that. That's what I'm really picking up for this group. So there were a few messages here, but overall the energy I'm sensing, if you do feel like you have like a childhood inner wound in regards to lack, and you are resonating with maybe not seeing movement in like your finances where you feel like you probably should by now, then that is, this is your sign. Like, go into your inner child and learn where you first picked up that false belief about money and lack and all of that, okay? Because I feel like that's the one thing that might have been holding you back from the material realm sustenance that you are deserving of, okay? So that's what I have for you guys with Pluto in house 8. Let's move on to Pluto house 9. Okay, so you guys with Pluto in house 9. Let's go. I just like literally saw the movie Titanic flash in front of my face. I don't know if that resonates with someone, but okay, you guys have Pluto in the 9th house. I feel like you have had some unnecessary worry for no reason, and you're gonna find out exactly that there was no reason, okay? And it might be a love situation. Just because I saw the movie Titanic flash in front of my face, it might not be. Some of you, Pluto in the 9th, some of you might consider yourself to be hopeless romantics. I don't know why that just came through, but you are gonna get that happily ever after. And I feel like you were seeing something inaccurately, maybe in regards to your relationship or your own like familial dynamic with how you grew up and related to your family members. And I'm sensing that you are some sort of message is going to come through for you guys to let you know that everything is okay, and that the only one that was blocking you was you. But you had a skewed sense of this situation, not that anyone else who was involved was doing anything. It was all your perception, and you are going to receive like an aha moment, like a light bulb moment, like that you were the one that was perhaps putting a false narrative onto someone else, projecting onto them. Now Pluto in the 9th house, this is someone who you know, they can like to hop around a bit, okay? They can have somewhat of a sense of like they don't want a commitment, or they keep reinventing what they believe in and things like that, right? Like, so maybe 2 years ago you were like, oh, you just want to be free to travel the world, right? And no cares, right? And then maybe a year ago you're like, oh, well, you know, maybe you want to like adopt a dog and start a dog training school. And then maybe now you're like, no, I just want to be free and maybe do this, do that. Like, I'm sensing something was like a little bit like your philosophies, your beliefs about life stemming from like familial relations were giving you like a false sense of what you really wanted in terms of like your happily ever after. So maybe you were like a hopeless romantic the whole time, but you had this skewed sense of XYZ, so you wanted to try out, you know, what would work for you, right? And you didn't really care if other motherfuckers were, you know, they didn't believe in what you believed in, or they didn't take it seriously. You're like, no, I'm doing this for me. That's what it is. But I feel like you're gonna have like a light bulb moment, an aha moment, where anything detrimental that you saw that maybe you ran away from, not that you were afraid of it, but you ran away from it because you didn't feel like dealing with it. You're like, nah, like you didn't think you gave a shit about that at the point, right? I'm sensing now that you are gonna realize that the things that you maybe ran away from in the past are what you actually want in like a happily ever after situation. But I'm feeling like the root of it came from like a familial situation, okay? So this might be a literal message from a family member, and they finally let you in on something that you had maybe wondered about, or you were always curious about, or you have a talk with someone and you know, they tell you what like the truth was about a situation, and it's not going to be negative, right? Let's say you have like it's just one example, but this is like a good example, right? Let's say you were, you know, you had different beliefs about like marriage and I don't know, what you wanted to be as a career. Like, you just had a whole lot of conflicting beliefs, right? And you didn't really want to address one of them, but you're going to find out that it was stemming from a belief that you had about someone that you knew and viewed as a family member growing up. And now you're going to find out that the belief that you held about them that was causing you to maybe hold them in a little bit of a negative light, you know, or more judging them from like a standpoint of like, I'd never be like that, something. You're going to find out something about this individual or individuals that is actually your own projection onto them, and it really wasn't how they were the whole time. So that's kind of what I'm sensing. And because of this, you know, with Pluto in the 9th house, I'm sensing that this might change your ideals of what your definition of like a quote unquote happily ever after is. So that's what I have for you guys. Pluto in house 9. Let's move to Pluto in house 10. Okay, Pluto in house 10. Let's see. Pluto in house 10. Okay. So you guys, very interesting here. So some of you, I'm sensing, I don't know why I see like lucky 7 or 777 here, but the number 7 is definitely going to be pertinent in some way. Okay, so now your card just fell to the floor. So as I was saying that, I know that there's definitely some truth going on. Okay. I feel like some of you guys might have been... Some of you guys might have been lying to yourself about something. Like there's a conflicting energy, and I'm sensing that it might come from like a place of you either being immature about a situation or I feel like there's sort of like kind of that type of energy, okay, with Pluto in house 10. Now Pluto in house 10, this does have to do with like you know, material realm and like career and status and things like that, right? So I'm sensing that you might have been oh my, okay guys, thank you universe. I'm telling you, guys, you're gonna have like a big jackpot win. 777. I'm really trying, like, this is wow. Okay, this is magical, and this is gonna be something to do with your career, something that you might have been, now you might have had conflicted energy in this area. I'm sensing that you might have been a little bit, like I said, that like that type of energy, but I'm sensing it was more on what you've been, okay, your inner self, like your inner child, whatever, and the way you present yourself on the outer are totally different, and they're at odds with each other, okay? But there is success coming in this area. There is some luck coming in your career sector for you to be recognized on perhaps a global or a universal scale, but I feel like you have discombobulated things going on within you because what you're presenting to the outer is not what's going on the inner. And I'm sensing that it can come from like I said, you can have a really good intuition. You might be someone who's able to see in the dark, and you're able to make magic and see magic and do magic, blah blah blah. But I'm sensing that there was also a part of you that might have been avoiding it for like a childish reason, like, and I'm sensing this is energy going on within you. And since we are talking about like 10th house and career and status, like I'm sensing you're about to have a big breakthrough. If you are the type to go to the casino and play the slot machine, I literally see 777. I see a big win. But I'm also seeing there's like there's an energy to not really talk about what you're doing until it's done, okay? Because I'm still sensing that even though you might, like I said, there's a lot of conflicted energy within you. You might know what path you're on. You might know that you're on the right path for you in the moment. But I'm also sensing that like parts of you inside are at odds with each other of, is this gonna happen? How's it gonna happen? Should I do this? Should I do that? There's like an aura of suspicion, but there's also an aura of, you've already seen results in this area, and there's also an aura of like, you know that you can have whatever you want whenever you want. And because all of these energies are like a big conglomeration going on within you, I feel like if someone asks about your career or asks like what your passion is or something, you know, because Pluto in the 10th house, this is someone who might have a bit of a reputation, bad or good, you know, they really, that's like the ultimate Joan Jett. I don't give a damn about my reputation, right? There's not a fuck to be found. So I'm sensing that like you have conflicted energy going on within you, and if someone tries to question you, like why are you pursuing that career path or whatever, I'm sensing you're just like, fuck you, like what do you give a fuck? There's a little bit of cockiness, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit, and I'm not sensing that it's like overly negative, like you're arrogant or selfish or anything like that, but it's just that kind of like why do you want to know, like you're more, I think you're more suspicious of why others might question what you're doing, even though you know what you're doing, but because you have that part of you on the inside that's kind of conflicted, you're coming off like like that's none of your business, like what, like you get a little bit I don't know the word, a little bit flamboyant about it, okay? Because remember, 10th house, this is the midheaven, this is the highest point on the astrological chart. I feel like you know that you're destined for greatness, you're destined for success, and that is coming. Like I said, if you're into casinos, I'm seeing 777. That means a win some way, somehow. Like a lucky break is going to happen. But I'm also sensing that there's a part of your like your inner realm, like your inner child is sort of like maybe your inner child needs to be prepared for this success, because I feel like your inner child is kind of like looking at the you that's in the now, right? And they don't add up. Like I don't know, like there have been a lot of like inner child healing things coming up with this entire reading here, but that's what I'm sensing. I'm sensing you still have a little bit of conflicting energy. Like you already know you're on the right path, you might already know what you want to do, everything you touch turns to gold, whatever, but I feel like there's still more of like there's like an immaturity in regards to it, which you might want to address, because I feel like there's something, I feel like there's something that you might not see in essence of the way that you might be your greatest fan and your biggest, oh my God, what's that word? Your greatest fan and your biggest rival, right? You have kind of this duality going on within you. That's what I'm sensing. So with this, I mean, there's definitely a lucky break, if we want to call it that, quote unquote, that's coming to you. And I feel like you have a lot of magic around you. And I feel like something about like something about your inner child might come up for resolution, and that's going to help to quell the inner conflict that you have, right? Like, but how, but when, but where, right? There's like a lot of questions, even though you know you're on the right path. It's like, shh, like just relax and let it happen. And I feel like that's coming from your inner child. So allow wisdom to come to you at this time in regards to like your career or what you want to be known for or something along those lines, because I really feel like you are massively successful in this area. Or if you are not, you are about to be, but it's like just kind of like shh, you know, tell the inner child shh, but you also want to know why you're telling the inner child to shush, right? So that's what I have for you guys. Pluto in the 10th house. Let's move to Pluto in the 11th. Okay, so Pluto in the 11th house. What's going on with you guys? Okay, Pluto in the 11th house. What I'm seeing for you guys is There's abundance and fruition of material realm plans, but you might have a lot of anxiety about it. And the only way that these material plans are going to come into fruition physically is if you let that go. I feel like you're on like the last, like you see abundance and you taste abundance, but you have to drop that last remaining nugget of what if, could have, should have, would have, right? You have to drop that because, you know, Pluto in the 11th house, this is about like friendships and hopes and wishes fulfilled, okay? It is an air house, so Pluto's intensity inside this air house, which is fixed, there is like you wanting something. You want your biggest wish to be fulfilled, and you know what that is. It's different for everyone, but I'm sensing the only thing that's stopping it from happening is that you have to let go of all of the mind chatter, okay? You have to let go of all the mind chatter, because if you don't, you know, it's just going to keep what you want away from you. But I'm sensing that there is going to be something you might, you know, this is another group, they might receive a marriage proposal, or they might be moving in with someone, or they might be having a child, or something along those lines. Yeah, stepping into the unknown, okay? So this might be like an area that you have not explored before, and you know you really want it. And it has something to do with like emotional fulfillment, or like if it's not that, if it's not the fulfillment of having like a spouse, or living with someone, or having a child, or adopting a pet or something, it's coming into you being stable on your own in the physical realm. So some of you might have doubts about this, even though it's like right there, you can taste it. But I'm sensing that because this thing that you were trying to manifest is so unknown to you, it's so alien that you don't even, you're kind of unfamiliar in the territory of what you would do, or how you would feel, or who you would be in the situation that you are trying to manifest. So it's like the situation is here, and it is offering you emotional fulfillment and all of the abundance that you want, right? There's an opportunity for you to be offered like the finer things. I have to say, some of you might be in like you know, like a sugar baby situation, okay? Or one might be presented to you. That's very specific too. So if it's not your message, it's not your message. But some of you might be wondering, well, like, what do you do in that situation if it's presented to you? And the answer is, you'll know in the moment, right? So I feel like there's more overthinking in this group. Like, you already know what you want, and you want the finer things in life, but maybe the thing that you're trying to manifest, or the things, or the lifestyle, is just unknown to you. So you have these like fear-based thoughts, which are illusory, and it's really keeping you in like the pattern of like overthinking, or thinking like what if, when, could have, should have, right? Like there's a lot of that going on, and it's only going on because this is a place that is unknown to you. It's not a place where you have dwelled a lot before, but the you know, the finer things, right, or the partnership, or the baby, or the pet, like, they are coming to you. But I feel like because you've never dealt with it before, there's a lot of fear-based energy going on, and you're creating your own obstacles in this situation. You're like because I feel like you know that. And I'm sensing it's more of like I said, like kind of like a lifestyle. I feel like the lifestyle that you want in any of the situations that I mentioned above, no matter what it is, it's something that is flashy and maybe a little bit taboo. So there also might be the fear around, if you do manifest this and you start living out your lifestyle, like, what would others think? What would others in your circle think? And it's like, who gives a fuck? Are they looking at you every day in the mirror? I mean, maybe they are if you're living with them, but it all comes down to you, right? They're not inside your consciousness where you go to sleep every night resting your head on your pillow and you feel content because you're living your life for you, right? So it's really, I'm sensing it's more what's keeping this a lifestyle of abundance and bountiful shit away from you is more like it part of it because you might have not experienced it before, but part of it is also because it might be a little taboo, and there also might be a fear or like like what are people going to say, like a judgment type of energy around it. But the only thing that is stopping you is you. So if you want this, just follow your intuition and the path will unfold. Even though it's unknown, it is going to unfold perfectly just for you. And remember, no one else is inside your vehicle. I mean, unless you're doing a seance and you want them to be inside your vehicle with you, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you answer every day to you. So I mean, fuck what anyone else thinks. Okay, so that is what I have for you guys. Pluto in house 11, Pluto in house 12. Okay, so here we go, our Pluto in house 12. Let's see. Let's see. Someone is getting married. I think that might only be for one individual, but someone is getting married, okay? If it's for you, it's for you. You'll know. Someone's getting married. Okay, now for everyone else, or for the one who's getting married as well, here is a concentration of actually putting in physical effort in order to manifest what you want. There might be like the topic of work and finance might be coming up a lot with this, or if you're in school, like actually like doing schoolwork and research or whatever it's called. I don't know. But there's like a lot of like chatter around like finances, and it's positive. So I feel like you guys with Pluto in the 12th house, it's like you're kind of, the 12th house is a very nebulous house. It's very mysterious, and sometimes planets in the 12th house might even appear to be hidden from the individual that has that placement, right? But what I'm seeing here, Pluto in the 12th, you have very high standards for yourself, okay? Emotionally, physically, mentally, like you might not be aware of it, but you have really high standards. And I'm sensing that a lot of you might have been very much into the spiritual energy of maintaining things, relationships, friendships, lifestyle, career. But now there's going to be more of a focus on actually working with others in order to build your own empire. So some of you might have been alienating other individuals, not letting them into your realm, because remember, Pluto is intensity. 12th house is like house of it's like secrets and asylums and things like that. So I'm sensing that you might not have even been aware of how much you were alienating others because you're more spiritually inclined in that area. And I'm sensing that for some of you, you might be coming into, like, you're either going to meet a mystic or a spiritual guru, or you are a mystic or a spiritual guru. And now there's two different scenarios with this, because I'm sensing that the time that you've spent in the ethers, with that 12th house Pluto energy, you don't even realize how intense you come off to others, or how intensely you are embroiled in this spiritual energy. And I'm sensing that you've been very private and closed off with this, and I'm sensing that the only way to really move forward and to like come into your true calling, because some of you guys here are going to be coming into your true calling, you're going to be actually taking all the spiritually charged energy that you have going on within you, and you are going to be, with the help of others, turning it into a career or a life path or a business, okay? But the only way to do that is to really let others in, because I'm sensing that you have the spiritual part down, but it's really like the actually, maybe let's say you know about spirituality and blah blah blah, but you don't know how to design a web page or something. And in this day and age, a web page is pretty important if you want to have a business, right? Or at least some sort of online presence, so that motherfuckers can know who you are. And you don't really want to proceed with your spiritual calling because you don't really know the technical side of it, right? But then how are you ever going to get your name out there with your spiritual calling if you don't build a website, right? Or get someone to help you build a website. So I'm sensing it's more about you're someone who I feel like is more of like on a mystical spiritual path, but you've been closed off about it and you haven't let others in, not because of the fear of judgment, but I feel like others don't even want to ask you about it because you, with your spiritual idealisms, you come off very, very intense with it, and a lot of individuals consider you wise, but they're kind of scared to ask for your opinion. So I really sense it's sort of like play nice in the sandbox type of energy with you guys, and I'm sensing it's more in terms of like, like a spiritual, you're already spiritual. It's more in like a physical aspect, right? Like play nice with individuals in the 3D so that you can turn this into a career or a part-time hobby that is eventually going to lead you into a career. But I'm seeing like a focus on work, like of you moving more into your alignment of your spiritual path as like an actual business. So it's either you becoming a spiritual teacher and seeking help from others into how to design a web page or something like that, or actually you seeking out like another teacher to teach you how to broadcast your message to others in the physical realm. So it's or it could be both, you know what I'm saying? But there's like things for you to learn here from others, and just be open to it, because it can really open up a whole new realm of possibilities, especially like in your finances. Like this can be a very lucrative business for you, okay? But if you're not, like I'm sensing here, it's really like a partnership in terms of working with other people, not just like doing it all on your own. Like I feel like you're someone who you don't really like to ask for help, maybe because a lot of individuals view you as a spiritual teacher, and you're like, well, you're thinking to yourself that if they view you as so highly regarded as a spiritual teacher, but you don't know how to design a web page, they might look at you sideways like what? Like, and it's not even like that. It's like everyone has their own gifts, right? So if your gift is more spiritually inclined, then odds are someone else whose gift is more technically inclined is going to be able to help you, and they're not even going to have any type of judgment or thought, because that's not their, like, they might come to you for spiritual advice because they don't know how to do that, but they don't see any issue with you coming for them for like technical advice, because you know what I'm saying, it's like a two-way street. So I'm sensing for you guys that it's really time to put your passion like out in the open and really work with other people so that you can get your own spiritual message out there. Don't be afraid of like the teacher asking a quote-unquote student for help, because everyone has their own natural talents, okay? And no one is going to think less of you if you don't know how to open Instagram, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that energy. That was a weird analogy, but you know what I'm saying. So that is what I have for you guys, Pluto in the 12th house, and that is what I have for you today. We went through all 12 Pluto houses. I am Oculus, the alien next door, purveyor of esoteric lore. Yeah, that's what I have for you today, guys. Check out my social media, subscribe if you want to, and I will have the birth chart information in the description box as always. I probably should have said that in the beginning, but whatever. Here we the fuck are. Chit chat again soon.